Okay, so for this first problem, it wants to know the domain of this relation or function, and we know this could be a function because no x values are repeated. So what the domain means is the domain is all your x's, while the range would be all your y's. So when we look at the domain of this function, just our x values. So -3, 1, 3, and 4. That would be my answer. Let's try the next one. Now this one, it wants me to write an equation in standard form given the following intercepts. Now I don't think it's easiest to write it in standard form. I think it's easiest to look at your options and see which one would have an x-intercept of 2, and a y-intercept of 6. So when I look at which one has an x-intercept of 2 and a y-intercept that has 6, you might go, well, x is 2 and y is 6. But this one would actually be wrong. And that is not the right answer. The right answer is actually going to be D, and I'll show you how you can check. So what an x-intercept means is that there's no y value. So what I do is I cover up this y right here at the bottom of your screen. So I cover that up. And then, since that's covered up, I can then divide 6 on each side. When I divide each side by 6, you can see what you get is x is 2. So that one checks out. You then play the same game. This time, instead of covering up the y, you cover up the x. When you cover up the x, you divide both sides, and y equals 6. So you want to make sure to find the x and y intercepts, you know for an x-intercept you have no y value. And for a y-intercept you have no x value. Because you're on those axes. There's no, on the y-axis there's no x values. On the x-axis there's no y values. So just make sure that you use that, we talked about it before, the cover-up method, because since you have no y value, you can get rid of it or cover it up. Let's try the next one. Okay, so we got to write a line that's perpendicular to this. So again, anytime you have to write this, you want to find the line equation, which is y equals mx plus b. Now when we do this, we know m already. Since it's perpendicular, we say that's an opposite reciprocal, or everything is going to change. So because this is a negative, it's going to be a positive, and because it's 1 over 2, it's going to become 2 over 1. So that's my slope is 2 over 1, or you could just say it's 2. So if y equals 2x plus b, well, now they also gave us a point. Sometimes, because it's perpendicular and they cross like this, they technically could cross at the same y-intercept. It's just really unlikely. So that's generally not the answer. We're going to use our x value right here and our y value right there to kind of check which one's the correct one. So then I'm going to plug in -5 for y. I'm going to plug in 4 for x. We would now have -5 equals 8 plus b. Minus 8 on both sides. I'll have b equals -13. And now that we have that, we can write the whole equation, which would be y equals 2x minus 13. And that would be my answer. Let's try the next one. We need to find the set of ordered pairs that represents a function. So if you remember again what a function is it means no x values repeat. So we have to find the one where we're not going to have any x values repeating. So when I look through here, that one's not going to work because we have 2 twice, so that one's gone. This one, we get 6, 5, and 4. That looks like it checks out. Let's just look at the other ones. Oh, I have 6 and 6 repeat, so that one's not going to work. And here I have 0 and 0 repeat, and 1 and 1 repeat, so that's not going to work. So it has to be that second one, because no x values repeat. It doesn't matter that the y values repeat. It's only the x's. So we just have no x values repeating. Let's try that. Okay, so they want the line that is parallel to this line right here. And so when I'm reading this and thinking about this, I know that parallel means they have the same slope. So I need to find a line. Combine same and slope real quick there. I want a line that has the same slope, but here I can't tell what the slope is, so I'm going to need to convert that. So to convert that, we first want to move x to the other side. After we move x to the other side, we're going to want to get rid of the number in front of the y by dividing by -4. That's going to give me y equals, this could simplify, and we're going to need it to simplify because none of those slopes look the same. So we're going to get 1/2 x minus 4. Now when you're looking through that, there's only one equation that has the same slope, which would be number 1, because that's the only one that has a positive 1/2 slope. All the other ones have different slopes, so they will not work. Let's try the next one. Okay, so we need this next one to be the line that goes through this, and that's the slope of -2. Well, right off the bat, we can say those bottom two aren't going to work because they don't have a slope of 2. So we're really deciding between these two. So let's write a line equation and see what we get. We get y equals -2x plus b. Again, this is an x and this is a y. So I'm going to get 5 equals -2, 1 plus b. We're then going to get 5 equals -2 plus b. When I add 2 to both sides, I'm going to get that b is equal to 7, which means this top one is the correct equation. Let's try the next one. In this problem right here, when I'm reading, I have an online registration that is going to be $13.95, and it charges 49 cents per song, and I would like to buy up to 50 songs. So I want to know the maximum number of songs I can buy. When I do this, I'm going to first write the equation, so I know my cost is going to be $13.95 plus 49 cents for every song. And I can buy more than one song, so I'm going to put an X next to that to show, hey, I can buy multiple songs of that. And at the end of the day, I want this to be less than or equal to 50. Because I can't buy over 50, but I could buy less than 50. And now we're just going to solve and get x by itself. So to get x by itself, we'll subtract $13.95 from both sides. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head, so I'm going to use my calculator. So I'm going to get 0.49. X is equal to, and I just forgot what I put, 36.05. Then we'll divide both sides by 0.49. And again, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. And it's around 73. Now, when you're thinking about which answer choice you can choose for this, 74 wouldn't work because it said the most that we could buy was up, like we have to do a minimum. So for this, even though it was 0.5, we don't want to round up because we can't buy 74 songs. That would be too expensive. We can buy 73.5 songs or less. So I have to choose the or less option this time, and that would be the correct answer for us. Let's try the next problem. Okay, so for this one we're looking at this function table, and we want to know what equation kind of matches this function table. So we just have to look at the pattern of what it's doing. So how does it go from 3 to 7, 4 to 8, 5 to 9, and 6 to 10? And we always look from x to y, like how do we go from here to here? And when I look at that for the pattern, it looks like every single time it's adding 4. So C would be the correct answer. X plus 4 would be the function rule that we would like. Let's try the next one. Okay, so for this one, we're going to want to solve this and see what happens. when I look at this equation, the first thing I want to do is distribute the 3. So that would give me 6m minus 3 is less than or equal to 4m plus 7. I would then want to get all the m's together, so I'm going to subtract 4m from both sides. That's going to give me 2m minus 3 is less than or equal to 7. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. I'm going to get 2m is less than or equal to 10. Then I'm going to divide by 2 and get m is less than or equal to 5, which that would be that one for our case. Again, the only time you're going to flip this inequality sign is if you divide by a negative number. We did not divide by a negative number, so we won't flip the inequality sign. Let's try the next one. Okay, they want h of negative 1. So if they want h of negative 1, that really tells us that we're going to take this and plug it into this equation right here. So let's do that. We get 2 negative 1 squared. And notice how I put parentheses around this. If you plug the number in and you don't put parentheses around it, you're going to get different answers than you want. So make sure when you plug this in your calculator, you put parentheses around where you plugged it in. Now we're just going to go through and think through this. I would not put this in on your calculator. Do not do negative 1 squared on your calculator because your calculator will give you the wrong answer. Because if you look at what happens when we do negative 1 squared, our calculator, that calculator did it correctly, and it gave us a positive 1. But there'll be some calculators that will see this as different. Maybe this one will work out a little bit better for my example. Let's see. Yeah, there's some calculators that will give us the wrong answer for our case, which will give us negative 1. So just do that in your head, like what's negative 1 times negative 1? Oh, that's a positive 1, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So then we would have 2 times 1 minus 3 times negative 1 plus 4. We would then do the multiplication, so 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3 plus 4. 2 plus 3 plus 4 would give us 5 plus 4, which is 9. And that would be our final answer. Let's try the last. For this one, we have to see which set of 4 of these things would match this line equation. So let's just try to figure out some things that we know. First off, we know that one y-intercept is positive 3, and the other y-intercept is negative 3. So that's one thing I know. Then I'm going to find the line of the positive 3, 1. Its slope looks like it goes down 2 and over 1. So that'd be negative 2 over 1x. And then we're going to look at the line. It looks like if you take any point on the line, it looks like the shading is above here. Because if I take any point, it kind of goes in this above area. So it looks like that would be greater than or equal to, which narrows down some of our choices. Like that one would work. This one would not work because it's below. That one would work. This would not work because that's a solid line instead of a dotted. So now we're deciding between these two. Let's look at the slope for this one. The slope looks like it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So it'd be 4 over 1x. And this one looks like it is, since it's dotted, it has no equal to underneath it. And it looks like this one also shades above because it goes up. So that'd be y is greater than. Which, since that means it's strictly greater than A, would be my right choice for this problem. If you have any questions again, please ask. And that's it for today.